Well, what a place it is, what a time it is, and what a way to get it done. Welcome to Monte Carlo, everyone, where it's round 11, the Invictus Racing League F1 series on the Xbox. We decide things here today. The Drivers' Championship ends, the Constructors' Championship ends here today, and what a better place to do it than the streets of Monaco. DJ Danny and HK are going to battle this one out. It is pretty straightforward. DJ Danny or HK, whoever can finish above each other, they will take home the Drivers' Championship. We will get to that in a second. Racing in the shadow of the world's most famous casino. It opened in 1863, and it's still featured on the track here today. And Monaco's landmass has expanded by 20% through land reclamation, but the track is still as narrow as we all remember. And it is going to be 39 laps around this 2.1 mile circuit. It features one DRS zone and 19 turns, 8 to the left, 11 to the right, and there are plenty of corners of note. Turn 1 down at Sandoval is potentially the clearest overtaking zone on the track, but how much defending will the drivers be able to do down into there, and how much defending, whether it be into the Lowe's hairpin as well, where could somebody potentially get forced out wide to make room for another kart and able to get by there? And turn 10 down at the Nouvelle chicane. Can you send it down the inside and avoid hooking your rear tire on the way out? Only time will tell over the next 39 laps. Last week at Silverstone, we had the hardest compounds. This week, we have the softest, the C3, the C4, and the C5. The mediums about 0.8 of a second slower than their soft counterparts. The mediums, or the hards rather, 1.7 seconds slower than the softs. We don't expect to see any of the hards, but it could be a 1, potentially a 2 stop, depending on who's willing to give up track positions. Safety cars are plenty around Monaco as well. Could it be a soft to medium, get the mediums to the end, or who will dare to go soft, medium, soft as well? And as we mentioned before, the championship gets decided here and now. DJ Danny with a 1.5 lead over HK, who was relegated down the pecking order after penalties last week at Silverstone. If he wins the race, he wins the championship. So HK could steal it out from DJ Danny's nose. And Red Bull could also take the constructors today as well. They have a 6.5 point lead over Racing Point and Renault. Also, the team that has a mathematical chance to do it, they're 16.5 points behind. That is somewhat unlikely. And Kendo, Monaco, no better place to wrap up what has been a very, very up and down championship battle through this entire season.
It certainly is, and the fact that we still have the championship to be decided on the final day is going to make this spectacle even more exciting, and all the more it's going to be very tense for the drivers, especially with our lead, as you've just been seeing. DJ Danny is on 95 points, HK is on 93.5, so it's going to be quite an interesting one. The pressure's going to be on DJ Danny going into this event. How will his mindset be thinking? Do you just try and do enough, or do you go for the win? It all depends on where HK comes.
Well, him and HK are going to have enough to worry about where else they're on the track. They're going to have 39 laps to try to navigate this entire circuit. If you take your mind off the track for even one moment, Kendo, you'll find yourself missing a front wing or even a front wheel.
Oh, yes, especially going into that swimming pool section. That area you can quite happily take a few wings off, that's for sure. I know I've been and done it myself with just a lack of concentration, but as you said, the pressure is on the guys that are just about to get ready to go out. Let's see who comes out on track first.
Well, with 18 minutes into qualifying, it's going to be interesting to see exactly who is going to be able to really just pull out a time, because drivers were saying earlier this week, it's difficult to just get one lap done around here cleanly, and even with some pace is in typical fashion. James F1 first out of the pit lane. The Racing Point I think he's done that about 5 races in a row now, so no surprises there from him.
Yeah, exactly. Traditions must with some drives, and that's what is usually a thing with F1 drivers these days, but all have to have a force of habit. He wants to get out first, so as you say, no surprise there, setting the benchmark of who to go out, set the first lap.
You can see here, so it does look like a few drivers are out on the medium tires as well. We didn't expect much of the hard tires, and we're seeing that play out here. DJ Danny has gone out on the medium tires as well, as has Miles in the Alfa Romeo. But it looks like almost everyone has peeled out of the pit lane and is headed onto the track. So this could be a very congested lap here for James F1 as he peels around the swimming pool section now. Coming through here. Gotta take that curve very well as he heads into Rascasse and Kendo. I'm sure we all know it pretty well, but to refresh our memories, just a lap around Monaco.
So here we go, DRS is straight away activated, coming up and getting ready for this long sweeping right-hander. This is where part of the track getting easily invalidated, but he gets it just right, coming up this sweeping hill, couple of turns. Now this is the point where drivers need to focus on it. As you can see, very aggressive going into that turn. He gets it just right, and now we're making our way into the hairpin sections. He gets it nice and tight on that curb. He can get a little bit more aggressive. This is just the first lap. And here we go, making his way into the tunnel. Now this is the point where drivers need to make sure that they have their braking point down to a T, coming down the blind bank, aggressively on the left, aggressive on the right. Very nice launch coming into the swimming pool section. Trying to get as much to the right of the wall as he possibly could, using as much ground as he possibly can. And here we go, coming up to the finish line, gets straight on the throttle, and he's about to set his lap, and it's a 1:09.540. With Lando Norris closely followed behind on a 1:10.2, and Leclerc's on a 10:7.5.
So a great first lap from the Racing Points. If they want any shot at getting the constructors, it's going to have to be kind of performance from not only James but Sharks as well. They're going to have to really battle the Red Bulls of Ryan and HK to try and propel themselves up to the top of the table. We're following along with Scartrix now, who looks like somebody's already left a little bit of wing coming out of Portier. Head through the tunnel. Scartrix and the Hasses have had a very, very up and down season. It's been podium on first race of the season for Scartrix, and then nothing really since. It's been very inconsistent between teammates, but Scartrix has more or less put this Haas team on his shoulders and kind of ran with it at times.
It just goes to show that the caliber of the driver, if he can put it on his A game, time he can produce the goods and keep the top drivers very much on their toes. Like you say, he's currently set at 1:13.3, so that's his first banker lap. It's like he is going again, but we'll look at the Shark at the moment.
So Shark's coming across the line, a 1:10.0, so about 5/10 off of his teammate. Miles is up into the top 5 as well, 109.9 from him on the medium. So if that's just showing the Alfa Romeo's pace around Monaco, he's done it very well indeed. Ryan 97, a little bit more than 2/10 off of that time as well, and has Scartrix potentially found the wall by any chance? I believe he might have going into the Nouvelle chicane. There's a Toro Rosso heading through there. Yeah, you can see his car is actually in the middle of the chicane, so Scartrix becoming the first victim on his in-lap of this Monaco circuit. I don't think we expected that at all. Wow, I'm a little bit lost for words at that.
By the looks of things, he's just trying to catch, he's caught just the left-hand side of the wall as you're coming down that bank, and unfortunately, because of that, he's clobbered the right wall. You've seen the consequences, right tyre completely off.
You can see now Jamie 29 on his outlap is. It's gotten better for Mercedes, but it is very, very much too little, too late for the Silver Arrows. But I'm trying to. There isn't really a good word to describe the way Mercedes have done this season. It's been promising at times, Kendo, but it really just hasn't really played out on track for him.
No, it certainly hasn't, and it's quite unfortunate for him at times. However, there is still plenty racing left to go as part of next season. Very exciting, the 2020 season, new tracks to learn. So it all depends on, let's finish off on a high and let's get some good racing at Monaco.
Ferrari running wide at the back and losing a bit of that front wing on his flyer. You can see the right front end plate is just completely missing from that Ferrari. He's going to peel into the pit lane, rightfully so. Losing any bit of your wing, Kendo, is concerning, especially at a track like Monaco, where the corner is as tight as can be.
It's exactly that. I would be absolutely petrified trying to drive around the streets of Monaco with any sort of wing damage on this track, as we seem to have a slow moving Renault in sector 2. However, I think that was just to let drivers out the way. At the moment we're looking on both Lando North, as he's just about to finish his lap, and he's I was just about to say clattered the wall. Ouch.
That is another bit of front wing missing from one of these cars. It'll be interesting to see exactly how much carbon fiber is going to be left on the track after today. HK is on his lap as he's just cleared the Nouvelle Chicane heading into Tabac, and he's taking that line extremely well. It's one of those places where you want to get as wide as possible, but keep it as tight as possible, as well as he heads through Rascasse and keeps it very clean there as well. Doesn't even go below 60 miles an hour. Gets extremely loose coming out of the final corner for first lap. That does put him 8th fastest. You wonder how much time he actually lost losing the back end there. Just a whole wallop of oversteer for the Red Bull. DJ Danny yet to come out of the pit lane, yet to set a lap as well. So he's down in 17th with 9 minutes to go here. Ryan 97 up into 4th. I'm trying to figure out what DJ Danny's thought process here is. Is it just going to be a matter of do a lap and trying to just get ahead of HK, or is he just going to try to work his way up as far as he potentially can?
Well, of course his eyes have got to be on HK, because that's the person who can potentially nick under his feet that Drivers' Championship away from DJ Danny. So he's got to have one eye firmly on HK. At the moment, he's still got to come out, and his HK has just completely flattened the wall going into the end. However, we are on body with Liverpool Ewan. Had a bit of a... I was about to say a bit of a...
Hold on, there's a McLaren that is just completely turned the wrong direction. That's actually our pole sitter, HRC. He's set the fastest lap a 109.0. So we're about to break into the 108. I wonder if that was just potentially taking your mind off of things going through the Nouvelle Chicane. That's not a very good place to start daydreaming.
No, it certainly isn't, and especially as you can see on screen, Max has just been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Ooh, that's not a good sign from him either.
When it rains, it pours for Mercedes, doesn't it?
And we've just earlier you were talking about Liverpool, and he's just completely lobbered and ended his lap, unfortunately. But now we're currently on body with Ryan. Probably seeing Liverpool going straight on just to try and allow Ryan that chance to get away, as he's currently in the tunnel here. Now this is where it's caught a few drivers out, as we've already seen.
I think Ewan may have just thrown a little bit of a hold up a little bit more, and through to back. There's just no place to go, and there's a Haas in the way as well into Raskas. This is a lap that Ryan 97 is going to want to forget very, very quickly, and is going to do just that. Into the pit lane comes the Red Bull. DJ Danny seems to have finally worked himself up for a lap as he heads through the tunnel and down into the chicane. He comes to the left, to the right, and back to the right yet again. He's going to have his teammate through to back. I wonder if that's going to be quite a bit easier to negotiate. And yes, you can see Rimac peeling out of the way there as he heads through into the swimming pool and down into Raskas comes the Renault. This could be quite the lap from DJ Danny. Can it get him above 8th place?
No.
He invalidated. No, it was a 1:11.8, so actually DJ Danny's best lap and only lap of the session so far sees him in 17th.
Wow.
Behind Overly Dames.
Head scratcher.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the thought process here for DJ Danny, because it's certainly not looking good for the Renault in this title fight as of now. Lando Norr has jumped up in the 6th place after his most recent lap, so 109.7 from him. I'm thinking, Kendo, the time to beat not only the 109.0, but I think we easily could see 108.9s, 108.8s. The pole time really start to get into there. We'll watch on board with HRC, who holds the pole time as of now, to see what kind of time he sets to really set everyone else the benchmark. Remember, he's half a second ahead of James F1, who's in the racing point behind him. So he's really left the field adrift here. Managed to do so even further. That would be a great result for HRC as he managed to keep it clean through to back and into the swimming pool section. He comes and cuts that corner ever so slightly, invalidating that lap. We'll hang out on board. Well, I guess we won't. I was going to see exactly what kind of lap time he put in. We were unfortunately robbed of the opportunity to do that. Let's see. The Racing Points 2nd and 4th as of now. They're certainly putting Red Bull on guard for that Constructors' Championship, but it looks like as of now, as you can see, actually one of the Red Bulls heading into the pit lane. Elazar, who got his first podium of the season last week, and it's back-to-back podiums for Williams for the first time this season at all. So they've enjoyed a great run of form, so we're on board with him here. Heading through the swimming pool, but Kendo, it's been a great past couple of weeks for Williams.
It most certainly has, and it goes to show once you start putting a string of results together, the confidence builds, and it goes, and it's clearly shown within the Williams as Leclerc just crosses the line there and just sets a 1:10.5. So just jumps above his teammate with 2 minutes and 35 seconds left in this qualifying session.
Now you can see this gap beginning to form between 7th and 8th. 109.96 from Miles, 110.39 from HK. There's definitely a difference between there. HK is out on his outlap, as is DJ Danny as well, right on board with the Renault, who's coming through the swimming pool right now. Into Raskas he comes. It's going to need to be a very, very good pole lap from DJ Danny if he wants to have any sort of shot at taking that pole position off of HRC and trying to get ahead of HK. He has about 1.5 seconds he needs to make up from his initial lap as he heads through Beau Rivage and up through Matinee and Casino Square. And he comes. Renault taking that line very well. He doesn't go fastest in the first sector, but has already chipped almost 0.4 of a second off of his original time. He heads through the hairpin down towards Portier and into the tunnel he comes. It'll be interesting to see what his sector 2 time is, because he's put together a very good lap as of now. And as soon as we're done, Liverpool Ewan is actually retired in the pit lane, so no harm, no foul there. DJ Danny is going to keep it clean through to back. Could maybe have gone a little bit quicker through there. Into Raskas, DJ Danny comes. Going to have to be quite the time to get him above HK, who looks like he's just heading into the tunnel now. But DJ Danny only 13th fastest from the Renault, and that will certainly begin to spice things up here. The saving grace is that as of now, he has his teammate in front of him. Can HK get farther up the field and distance himself from the Renault? You can see there, through to back and into the swimming pool once more, invalidating that lap, so he's going to crunch that down and try to regain as much ERS as he possibly can to start potentially on another lap. It is going to be another lap for the Red Bull. This qualifying is 5 seconds from ending, so HK getting across the line just in time. HRC looking to extend his pole advantage, is not able to do so. Almost 0.2 of a second slower than his previous lap. Next across the line will be Sir Sharks, up into 3rd position for the Racing Point. So really putting the pressure on Red Bull now. Let's see who is next across the line. It is a Renault. It is not the Renault we've been speaking of. Rimac heading through the final corners now. Onto the main straight, DRS wide open. It doesn't really do much around Monaco. Up into 7th position for the Renault. So a great start from Rimac. His teammate can't say the same thing. Can James F1 potentially make up about half a second on his time? He's gone the fastest in the middle sector. Is he potentially going to nick pole here from HRC? He's going to come across the line, jumps his teammate, not anyone else, and that is how qualifying will finish. HRC is going to be on pole position. And as far as any sort of Drivers' Championship, this is getting spicy very, very quickly, because in that position, HK wins the Drivers' Championship by half a point.
Yeah, it's very interesting indeed. So as you can see, HRC takes pole position. Ryan 97 is in 2nd. James F1 is in 3rd. Sir Sharks is in 4th. Liverpool Ewan 5th. Lando Nor 6th. 7th is Rimac. 8th is Miles. HK is 9. Leclerc is in 10. And then Fairmore to 11. Jamie in 12. DJ Danny surprisingly in 13th. 14 Jamie Rodri. Fairmore for 15. Rimac 16. Overly. Didn't make out that driver's gamer tag, so I'll just pronounce Overly. Was there with few drivers filling up the grid, and interestingly, Lights is coming out.
Well, we see it's going to be a little bit cloudy.
Yeah.
The weather report is that it's actually going to clear up later in this race, and the track temperatures are going to really skyrocket come the last few laps of the race. So for those who are looking to make a strategy work, it's really going to be a project for them to really make sure those tires get to the end, especially if they try to one-stop this race. We could see potentially, with the weather report coming out, the hard tires come into play in place of the mediums if those wanting to one-stop it elect to do so.
Yeah, it's exactly that. But the most interesting part at this moment in time, in my opinion, at this moment in time, HK and DJ Danny P9 and P13. Bear in mind, HK needs to get more points than what he currently has at the moment if the standings were to finish as they were. So HK needs to make some moves up the table, and so does DJ Danny. So at the moment, a bit of pressure is going to be on DJ Danny's shoulders, just as we say that. A bit of technical issues from him there.
And we saw him leaving and joining and leaving again the qualifying session. We really hope this race is not tainted with connection issues. And DJ Danny saying his game disconnected. I don't know, Kendo, if you're able to send him an invite real quick and try to get him back into the race before. That might be a sign of some connection issues. See everybody weaving around trying to get in. We do have confirmation actually of a session restart due to I would assume it's just simply too many connection issues, because we saw, during qualifying, I think DJ Danny left the session about 8 different times.
Yeah.
And so, rightfully so, it seems as though the administration here has decided to restart this race and have every little bit of reason to do so.
It's exactly that, but just for initial instance, some of the drivers who stay in this lobby could have a good little practice session on a restart. So let's see who takes advantage of this little bit of a practice start while we're waiting for the new session.
I don't think anybody is left in there, and we have just left ourselves, so we will have to sit tight and, much like, was it last week or the week before, really find some things to talk about. But thankfully this week, not unlike last week, there is plenty to talk about, because with DJ Danny starting all the way down in 13th, he's going to have to make up. He's going to really have to at least match what HK is doing. But as we saw, HK was a tenth and a half off of the rest of the field. So could this be a race, not even have either of these drivers on the podium, but the championship being decided in 7th, 8th, 9th place?
It could well be. At the end of the day, HK will be keeping informed of where DJ Danny is, because bear in mind, the championship standings is DJ Danny, just to remind you guys, is on 95 points, and then HK is on 93.5 points. So it could well be that, even though, as you've just been saying, they don't necessarily need to be on the podium. He just needs enough points to leapfrog DJ Danny. So at this point in time, if I was in DJ Danny's shoes, I would be very nervous right now coming into this restart.
Well, and obviously, as we know, Monaco is not the place you want to have to be to try to get moves done, because of just how unforgiving the track is. You have a car that's 2 meters wide. At its smallest point, the track is 3.1 meters wide, so you can't even fit 2 cars in through the majority of the track.
It's Yeah, it certainly is. I'm just reading all the information here within the communications of the driver's room. Quite an interesting conversation starting to build up there about like the disconnection issues and stuff like that. So I'm just reading up on that at the moment. But like you said, but I just can't imagine how the drivers must be feeling right now. And I've just had an invite. I don't know about yourself.
Uh, yeah, James, or actually Ryan, providing us with that. James slacking ever once more. Expected nothing less from James. Uh, but for all 23 of you who have stuck around through this, we'll get you racing shortly. It's going to have to take a few minutes to get everybody all set up in the lobby once more. I believe we're still waiting on one more person to hop in. We have 18 of 20. We were racing with 19 of 20. So it could be a second for that last person to hop into the lobby. But we will certainly keep you... well, at least try to keep you entertained until then. In terms... I know we're focused very much so on the Drivers' Championship. But in terms of the Constructors, you have both Racing Points in third and fourth. You have a Red Bull in front of them. They need 16.5 points over Red Bull. Should Ryan begin to fall down the order, the Constructors could potentially swing the way of Racing Point, provided they get their strategy right.
It's exactly that, considering, as you know, 127.5 points is the current championship leaders in the Red Bulls, 127.5. And then you've got the Racing Point is on 121. So, like you've just been saying, if results do go their way, even the Constructors' Championship is still up for grabs here tonight. It is round 11, final race of the season. A bit of a pressure race, really. At the moment, considering DJ Danny is quite the way down. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of tactics he wants to play out. And the same goes for Ryan. Will he be trying to assist his teammate HK in his quest of coming Drivers' Championship, which would then help them in the Constructors as well? So it's going to be interesting how team orders or team communication will be playing out this race. Very interesting one to find out.
Well, and that gap that you mentioned formed last week because, if you remember, they were more or less level on points, only that half point in between Red Bull and Racing Point. And the two Racing Points not collecting any points last week, and HK and Ryan only combining for 6 points at Silverstone last week. So that's where that 6-point gap comes from. And it's going to be really interesting to see, can they make up that hurdle? Can they potentially jump back above Red Bull and retake what has been their first place for really most of this season? It's been the Red Bull late charge, the Italian and Canadian Grand Prix in weeks 7 and 8 that really propelled Red Bull forward, and it's been the very lackluster performances, shall we say, in those races for Racing Point that have really seen them slip back into second place. And we mentioned Renault as well. The 0 points in Germany, really their only hindrance. And of course, the 5 points that they only collected at Monza, where it was an absolute downpour, and HK won by about a country mile.
Yeah.
That really hurt them as well, but Renault, who had the Constructors' lead through the first 3 weeks and then surrendering it after a double DNF in Germany, that's really what's seen them in this position as of now.
And you're certainly right, considering at the start of the season, first race, we got 17 points going in Abu Dhabi, then we got 12 in Belgium, 17 in Spain. So, as you rightly said, they had a fantastic start of at the start of the season, and then, as you've just been referring to, the double DNF, then the points started to slip away. And that's been, as you mentioned, the Red Bulls, they then started to make a charge up, so the turn into the tide. Could that be the mindset how DJ Danny's kind of about at this moment in time? Is the pressure starting to build on him as a driver, knowing HK is right on his heels?
Well, he's going to have HK all the way in front of him in this race. I think it's about HK starting. And so it's going to be 4 positions actually. HK starting in ninth, just inside the top 10. So for those of you that have just joined us, we did have a session restart, and the grid actually does look like this. HRC is on pole with Ryan97 right next to him. It's an all Racing Point second row. James F1 and Sir Sharks. That's the second time they've done that this season. Overpool Ewan in 5th place is joined by Lando Nort in the Haas, and Rymac and Miles will share the 4th row, with HK and Lazark sharing the 5th row and rounding out the top 10. Ferramoto with another 11th place qualifying has Jamie 29 for company. DJ Danny starting all the way down in 13th position has Jamie Roddy down in 14th as well. Fairfoot and RSF1 Maniac start 15th and 16th. Overly Days 17th with Scar Tricks down in 18th, who crashed out during qualifying, and Matt Swainus, who was disqualified during the qualifying session, will start 19th and last as we look to start this qualifying session again.
Oh, and here we go. Once again, Overly has readied up. So 10 seconds. Will the drivers be able to set up their cars in time, knowing what's going to be happening?
It's going to have to be a little bit of a scramble. Formation lap looks like it will be underway once more. It's that daunting task of trying to get tires up to temperature and get those brakes up to temperature as well. You have to keep the engines cool as well. It's a little bit counterproductive at the end of the day. But HRC leading this formation lap away. Most, if not everyone, is going to be starting on the soft tires. You can see Miles, who qualified on those mediums, is allowed to start on them as well. So we could potentially see Miles really begin to make up a few positions, particularly come around laps 10 or 11 when those soft tires should begin to fall off and times begin to drop for the soft runners. Miles will be able to take advantage of that, but how fast can he get to the front of the pack here around Monaco with 7 drivers in front of him and HK, who's most certainly going to be all on his heels through there. HRC wasting absolutely no time getting back to the grid. See now, Mercedes has just come through the Nouvelle chicanes. So it just tells you how far this pack has been spread out. It's kind of left HRC and Ryan97 a bit out to dry. Those tires are going to sit a little bit longer. Those engines are going to sit a little bit longer and cool down ever so slightly. The engines will get hotter ever so slightly as the Racing Points have taken their position as well as everyone begins to form up at the back of the grid.
Certainly is. And with the guy readying up by the looks of things, quite a few people haven't been able to sort out their setups in time, so this is going to be quite an interesting start here. So you've got 5 red lights.
We have 39 laps to decide the championship. We're racing here in Monaco. The Racing Point gets a very good start and is already up the outside of HRC. James F1 may have just taken first place off of McLaren by the first corner, still wheel to wheel as they head up over Village. It looks like the safety car has been deployed. Ryan97 has fallen down into 3rd place HK maintaining his 9th. Sir Sharks falling into 4th position. It was a blistering start from James F1. He just went right up in between the McLaren and the Red Bull. I believe, any idea who that safety car is for? DJ Danny has held his 13th place. HK has held 9th, so everything stays as it was there. I believe Liverpool Ewan has lost a place as well. Lando Nor in addition. Any idea what that safety car was for? I'll go through here in a second to see if there was any damage on any of these cars, but it did look like there was a little bit of a backup.
P17 just lost its wing.
Jamie Roddy has he's definitely lost part of that McLaren front wing. The whole entire right front end plate is gone, so he's lost about 3 positions and could potentially lose about 2 more, presuming he heads into the pit lane with the safety car parked up at Beau Rivage. And HRC will look to meet that safety car now as Jamie Roddy, you can see here in the pit lane. Maniac, Jamie 29 as well in the pit lane. Mercedes just out ahead of the McLaren. That's going to hold him up a little bit. You can see the hards for Jamie Roddy, softs for Maniac. So now we have very, very differing strategies out here. Jamie Roddy could potentially, I'm saying this with a little bit of doubt in my ears, Jamie Roddy could potentially go to the end of the race. It's going to be a project to really just squeak those out for the next 37 laps. Not entirely sure how that's going to work out for him. Front wing has been changed. The bright side for him is that because the safety car is deployed, he's going to be able to catch the back of the pack and potentially make his strategy work, but it'll be in the dying laps that his hard tires feel like there's basically just become cinder blocks. Yeah. And he's really going to be potentially having some of the drivers pull some hair out of their heads trying to get by him. Potentially their medium or soft tires, just penalties flying around everywhere. It was got a 5 or 10 second penalty. I'm not sure exactly which one it was for a collision with HK, and you saw there Maniac pick up a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits as well. So those will not help either of their causes. But back at the front, James F1 overtook Ryan 97 on the opening lap. Holds that 2nd position. Miles and HK, that's going to be a battle to really keep an eye on down in 8th and 9th place. How much leeway does the 2 DXT boys give to each other? And then HK is going to come up on Danny's teammate, and you know for a fact that that is not going to go over very well. You would assume Rymac is going to look to defend for his life, to hold up HK as much as humanly possible, to allow DJ Danny to go into a position to overtake the Red Bull. And DJ Danny has now, because of that round of pit stops, made up the place, so up into 12th place for him. 1 position down. He has about 4 to go if he wants to make anything of this. Jamie 29 has collected a penalty for himself as well for a collision with Scartrix. You wonder if that's going to be wing damage on the Mercedes. It doesn't think like it's too much wing damage. I believe as we come out of to back through here, safety car, as you can see there in this lap, and HRC will become the safety car now. He's going to have to let that Mercedes AMG safety car peel into the pit lane before he pushes down the throttle himself. Weaving around, you can see Ryan 97 hanging some distance back from the leaders. James F1's not hanging back at all. He's ready to go racing, pulling up alongside the McLaren. And now we are back racing once more here around Monaco. A great start from HRC. And you can see HK now looks like he's passed Miles, who was probably caught out on the medium tires. So Williams goes nearly straight on into the wall. A yellow flag in sector 1. That was Lazurk, who just completely lost his braking zone. You can see him there falling down the order, down into 18th position for Zerk, and that is not what the Polish driver needed at all, as Lando Norris all over the gearbox, out of the hairpin of Sir Sharks for 4th position, and that 4th position could prove vital for Racing Point should they want to take home any silverware here today. But Lando Norris has the company of Liverpool Ewell. He looks to send it down the inside, back to the racing line. Not on this occasion, not close enough. With Toro Rosso deemed to the Haas in front of him, but 1.4 seconds now is the gap from HRC, so that qualifying pace really starting to show itself here in the race. And just as I said, 1.4, it's nearly 1.9 seconds now. He's almost got a 2-second gap to James F1 in behind him. The fastest lap of 1:13.0 from HRC, and McLaren just blasting off into the distance from the rest of the field. Ryan 97 has 1.2 seconds to make up from James F1 as well, and was there retiring in the pit lane after that incident, deeming himself nowhere near ready for this Monaco Grand Prix. Sir Sharks to potentially have a move there on Ryan 97. Holds pat for now, but you can see the Red Bulls just seem to be struggling around here, Kendo. They can't seem to keep pace with anyone else, is rather dropping back even further from the Racing Point, but yet holding up the other one in the process.
Well, the thing that I'm going to be most interested is Ryan going to try and back up the field to allow HK to get the job done? Just to say that Rymac just had a huge spin, as we were just talking about Rymac trying to hold up DJ Danny, and that was very unfortunate there. I was on board with HK. Rymac basically caught the wall
and the safety car is out again.
Yeah, that's definitely, and straight away you can see the soft runners are pitting.
Yep, plenty of drivers into the pit lanes. The medium tires, it's actually the hard tires on for James F1, and plenty of those who just now pitted. So this early pit stop is actually going to take them from the hard tire, or from the medium tires rather, to the hard tires. We didn't expect the hard tires at all, but the second safety car here at Monaco is going to bring out those white striped hard compound tires. You can see now James F1 coming out ahead of Ryan 97, and HK is on to, looks like, fresh mediums for him. So a very aggressive strategy, but this safety car has allowed DJ Danny to move up into 5th place. The only two that didn't pit, HRC and Sir Sharks, still on the soft tires. From HRC, I don't blame him. He was pulling about a second a lap on the car behind on the soft tires. He doesn't seem to really have much of a reason to pit off of those softs as we head through Nouvelle Chicane yet again. But Kendo, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how these strategies play out, because theoretically DJ Danny could take those medium tires and head on to softs at the end, but at that point Ryan 97 and potentially HK can have track position at that point as well.
Yeah,
we're really just going to have to play this one out and see how it happens, because you have a whole host of strategies, and now HRC is into the pit lane. That could be well, not only an interesting decision, but a costly one at that, because he's pitted from the lead after everybody else is now streaming by down the pit straight. He's going to lose 13, 14, 15 positions, make it 16, 17 positions now, as Rymac is going to be the only car behind him. Actually, the only car we're waiting for on this safety car restart as well. But does that give Miles the green flag to really just have a go at Sir Sharks, who's leading the race?
It most certainly does, and it goes to show the fact how powerful safety cars can change a race. And unfortunately, as we've seen, HK's down in 15th place because he had the Red Bulls double stacked in the pit lane, and HK got massively held up because of it. We're going back to Miles here. for sure pretty much fresh medium tyres, and them soft compound tyres I will very much expect will be going off after a couple of laps after the safety car has gone in. I have no doubt Miles will definitely be trying to get all over the back of Sir Sharks, trying to force a mistake out of Sir Sharks.
Well, speaking of Sir Sharks, safety car in this lap, and the Racing Point becomes the lead car, and he's really going a lot slower than his McLaren counterpart did through, and you can see 5-second penalties are starting to really flood in. Just waiting here, just plenty of penalties are going, and now Sir Sharks is potentially away. He looked like he was going to go, but waiting until the last humanly possible second as Ferramoto picks up about 10 seconds worth of penalties for colliding with Miles on the safety car restart, and he's done extremely well, has Sir Sharks, because he's pulled out almost a second gap, and now Mats and his overly dazed found himself in a bit of trouble. This whole pack really filing through Beau Rivage now. It looks like his Scartrix, who's leading the way, and Mats Waiters has really pulled away from the rest of them. 2.5 seconds now from the Mercedes to Fairfoot, who leads the top 5. It was actually the trailing car in that top 5. Looks like now DJ Danny might be trying to square up a move onto Ferramoto as they head through the tunnel. It's a little too far back on this occasion to get any sort of move done. Just following now to see who might be trying to have a look, who might be getting held up, as HK down in 15th, both Red Bulls outside of the points here at Monaco on lap number 8. So we're about to start lap number 9 as soon as the Racing Point comes across the line. You can see, Kendo, the lap times are starting to favor Miles now on the medium tires, as Sir Sharks has really, he's going to start to begin to hold up the rest of this queue, and that could potentially really help DJ Danny get past Ferramoto, get past Miles as well, because it'll give him ample time and ample opportunity to really reel this race in. If DJ Danny wins the race, that's about it. There isn't really much more that HK can do. That is worst case scenario for the Red Bull.
Certainly is, and at the moment in time, I will have no doubt HK will be trying to say, where is DJ Danny? What sort of tyres is he on? What time's he doing? He'll be asking all these sorts of questions, because as you know, if DJ Danny finishes ahead of HK, it's done. The title is over, and DJ Danny will be the champion.
Well, James F1 has worked his way up into 10th as well, past Jamie Roddick. So both Racing Points in the points. And they will in this position, provided Sir Sharks still has to pit. They are, well, they lead the constructors as of now, but James F1 is going to gain another position. Overly has peeled into the pit lane off the mediums onto the hards for the Ferrari, and now Miles really is all over the tail of Sir Sharks, and you can see still line up a little bit of a move, but Sharks missing that apex there is going to signal to Miles that he's really struggling on those tires now. But the queue is starting to form behind the leader. You see Miles, Ferramoto, DJ Danny, and the Ferrari of Fairfield, who's starting to drift back ever so slightly further, and now Miles might have a look. Will he go down the inside this time? The Racing Point, it's extremely difficult to pass around Monaco, and it is being put on right on display here as HK is going to look to square up Jamie Roddick down into the chicane, locks up ever so slightly. Right, ooh, Ryan 97 has found his way to the outside wall. The safety car has been deployed, so not only now does HK not have a lead blocker, Sir Sharks is going to get a free pit stop. James F1 can potentially get some positions as well. This could rain on not only HK's parade, but Red Bull's parade as well.
Wow. absolutely insane, the amount of incidents that we are having here. Bear in mind, this is for a moment in time where drivers have to be thinking very quickly, do I need to pit? Is now the time? As you see, Liverpool, Ewan and Rymac both thinking now is the time to pit. DJ Miles, or DXT Miles I should say, now leads the race with Moto in second, and our championship leader at the moment, DJ Danny, is sitting in third.
DJ Danny hasn't been off the podium much this season. He's put himself in a good position to get himself back onto it yet again here. The third safety car of the afternoon, and here's an interesting situation that we're watching take place. Sir Sharks pitted under the safety car from the lead off the soft tire. Made his pit stop onto the mediums and got out in front of HK as well. So Sir Sharks could be defending very, very hard against now the only Red Bull left on track. In this position, Kendo, I believe, seventh position is what, 4 points, 2 points. James F1 and Sir Sharks have to gain one more position. Either of them, should they gain one more position, they will jump that 6.5 point lead and make it 7 points for Racing Point here this afternoon. But HK holding that lone point, so we're just going to have to wait and see, because it is very, very congested. Everything happening at once. A real race to the finish. And if I've done my math right, we're not even a third of the way through this Monaco Grand Prix.
No, and it's just crazy the fact that with different stats, as you've just been pointing out, there's still lots of things that could be played out. The stats crews in the background have given us some insight as to what could go down, which it's going to be interesting to see if it does play out, because as you rightly say, one more point for one position for that Racing Point team, and they can take the constructors. So it's, the pressure's now all on HK's shoulders right now.
HK really has it all to do, not only for himself now, but for his team, because it's really under threat in that Constructors' Championship that could be taken away. But Miles, safety car is in. He's now becoming the lead pace car. How much of the pack will he back up? Fairmoto's ready to get racing again, as is DJ Danny behind him. Through Rascast they come, even slower than Sir Sharks, and away we go once more. Racing here around Monte Carlo, and both the top three all get good starts, but you can see Fairmoto just hanging in with Miles and dropping about 2/10 through Sandoval. DJ Danny is dropping back. You can see him there, Kendo. 7/10, now 6/10. He's gaining and dropping time just all over. It seems like a very, very inconsistent lap time from our championship leader. But HK isn't having any better luck himself. He has Sir Sharks, who's on fresh medium tires, to contend with in front of him.
Certainly is, and yeah, and it's interesting as well. You can see the different driving styles. I don't know if you've noticed, but Miles is very smooth on the throttle, so his traction is going to get his tyre wear going deeper into the race, while DJ Danny is very aggressive on his throttle, so his tyre wear is going to be a lot stronger than Miles. So it's going to be an interesting one to see when the two drivers of Miles and Danny will need to pit in their tyre wear, for that matter.
You can see Miles just pulling out yet another gap. There's definitely races in and of themselves beginning to form. This top six of Miles all the way down to Scartrix, he's starting to pull away from the rest of the pack, and then from James F1 down to HK. really just kind of make things even more interesting. DJ Danny was now really starting to harass Fairmoto, who's cut the corner there, to try to maintain that second position, but DJ Danny is going to be all over the back of him through the tunnel. He's going to be well too far back into the chicane to have a look at any sort of move. You almost have to be alongside the car you want to pass in order to get any sort of lunge into there done. Serge Sharks, 3 seconds for multiple off the track as well. And Liverpool Ewan getting the same dose of that medicine in the Toro Rosso in addition, but now Fairmoto is actually starting to spread this gap to DJ Danny ever so further. As DRS enabled once more as we just started lap 15. Monaco Grand Prix, we still have 24 laps to go, 24 laps to decide who is going to be our Drivers' Championship. Will it be DJ Danny? Will it be HK? As of now, he is taking this with a commanding lead. The gap is 1.5 points, and we still have plenty of time to sort that out. You see DJ Danny trying to just push Fairmoto around the hairpin, and during all of this, Fairmoto has just allowed Miles to drift off into the distance. 3.3 seconds is the gap from Miles to Fairmoto. The virtual safety car has now been deployed. Could that signal the medium runners to head into the pit lane? I think Miles might look to do just that. I think 10 to 14 laps on the mediums. Should they go to the hards, they would most definitely make it to the end of the race. It might not be the quickest way around. But nope, Miles staying out. Fairmoto heading. No, it looks like everyone else is going to stay out. No pit stops will take place. Just as I say that, Matt Swainus in the Mercedes, the lone Mercedes left, is into the pit lane, serving it seems a lengthy pit stop for him. He is on to fresh medium tires. Rimac into the pit lane as well for Renault. We are racing here yet again. Fairmoto still has the Renault all over the back of him. But HK, during those pit stops, making up another position, but as did Sir Sharks, who is James F1, is really struggling with the Haas of Lando Nord behind him. But thankfully, James F1 has his teammate Sir Sharks behind him to give the Haas driver a little bit more to think about. But Sir Sharks has to worry about HK behind him. It's all popping off here, isn't it, Kendo?
The show of us, as you're saying, quite a fair few battles going out on track. The two racing points in their own little battle here. Because bear in mind, the constructors is between the Red Bulls and the Racing Points. So it's a lot of action is playing out on track in front of your eyes here. Because the Red Bulls and the Racing Points are all in the same area of the track. This is going to be very, very exciting towards the end, because we are just on lap 17 out of 39.
And James F1 is missing a little bit of that left front end plate on the Racing Point. You wonder, we saw potentially a move around the outside from Lando Norris. If he may have banged the inside wall through Rascass. You can just see there's absolutely no speed right now in that Racing Point. Lando Norris just climbing all over the back of him. Sir Sharks is going to have to find a way to help his teammate, but at the same time keep HK behind. Because as of now, Lando Norris could potentially have a little look at the Racing Point. Lando Norris' teammate Star Treks up into fourth as well for a Haas. Could Lando Norris potentially have a look down the inside at the chicane this time around? You see James F1 running extremely deep into the Novelle chicane as well as they head through to back for the 17th time. Liverpool Ewan getting past his teammate as well as they head through the swimming pool section. You can just imagine the lack of downforce in that Racing Point is probably everything but what James F1 needs inside that cockpit right now.
Certainly is. Now, will he have a look up the bank? He's right up James F1's gearbox here. don't think he's going to make a move. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. However, I don't think that's much of an issue right now because the yellow flag's now gone away. Lando Norris is desperately trying to get past James F1. Huge pressure on James F1 at the moment, but as we already identified, he has lost part of his end plate, which is the reason why he's losing so much time. And this is going to hurt HK in his battle to try and leapfrog DJ Danny, because bear in mind DJ Danny still needs to pit, so it's going to be interesting to see where they come out on track for me after them rounds of pit stop.
I saw Lando Norris almost pushing James F1 through the chicane. James doing extremely well to cover that off. Oh, and Lando Norris getting extremely loose, and James F1 not taking anything to that, and he's shown him right into the wall. Lando Norris is going to lose out that battle. He's going to lose about 3 or 4 positions along with it. It was a little bit advantageous from the Haas, and now he has paid the terms of his front wing for that aggressive move. But that has just promoted Sir Sharks up into 7th place. HK now into 8th as well. The action just doesn't stop when you come to Monaco.
It certainly doesn't now. At this point in time, Sir Sharks needs to be asking the question, James, are you going to let me pass here and then defend from HK? That would be the communication that should really be going on right now between the 2 Racing Point drives to give the Racing Point the best opportunity to take this Constructors title. I have to be working together, and the more the battle, the harder it's going to be for them, because HK will be all over the back of these guys if they are not careful.
Well, HK's been lacking pace, and there you can see Fairfoot into the pit lane. Some of the medium runners now peeling into the pit lane. Lando Norris presumably to change that front wing. 19 laps have the front runners done on their medium tires. Miles, Faramoto, DJ Danny, and Scartrix have all done 19 laps on the medium tires. They lead this race. Miles might actually be a full pit stop. I'm trying to do a little bit of quick math. He's about 16 seconds ahead of James F1. So if he were to pit now, he'd almost be in a Racing Point sandwich when he comes out of the pit lane, because that's how close the gap would be. I also wonder as well, Sir Sharks on the faster tire, is he going to defend for his teammate, or they might potentially do the old switcheroo down at Racing Point and try to get their man who's on the softer compound out in front and blasting away.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It'll be interesting to see how long their medium compound tyre drivers can last. As you say, the amount of space Miles has produced, it's absolutely incredible drive from him. It'll be interesting to see, as you rightly say, will he come out in that Racing Point sandwich? Oh, Lando Norris retired.
Ooh. Looks like he's in the pit lane. Just outside it, almost looks like. The yellow flag is out. And you wonder... No, that certainly wasn't the pit lane, was it?
No.
Was not ideal from the Haas driver. The yellow flag still in Sector 3. As his tired car is now peeled off the track. But DJ Danny and Faramoto are about to reignite their battle for second place as we get this fantastic overhead view of Rascass. And now, because Faramoto has done such a hold-up job on DJ Danny, who's really just doing everything he can now to get past the Williams, Scartrix is now going to be invited to the party for third place. And I believe now Miles, if he wanted to pit, would have that gap to James F1 in order to maintain more or less the lead of this race, because Ferramoto, DJ Danny, and Scartrix would all need to make their pit stops as well.
Exactly that.
Yeah,
because the question will remain as well, as that few people are asking. They think potentially HK might need to pit again. It all depends on how he is going to make them tyres last. Bear in mind, he's been on them for 16 laps. DJ Danny has been on 21 laps on these tyres, so that'll be the benchmark for him at this moment in time.
I actually remember pitting under the second full safety car onto these medium tires, so he did have the benefit of being behind a virtual safety car and a full safety car along with those tires, so could potentially drag them out for a few laps longer than we anticipated. DJ Danny still cannot find a way past Ferramoto and might be overtaking himself. Is he going to potentially have a little look here through Beau Rivage and into Casino? This time around, just absolutely nowhere to go for the Renault. And that is basically how Monaco works, doesn't it, Kendo? You're trying to go one place and you just cannot get anywhere to go. You need track space in order to really work with. In the meantime, James F1 and Sir Sharks have put themselves in a very good position to be promoted up the field. Should these cars that we're on board with now, Ferramoto, DJ Danny, and Scartrix, go into the pit lane. You see the Renault getting very loose there, just signs even more that these medium tires are starting to fall away from second, third, and fourth position. I'm wondering, Kendo, could Sir Sharks on the 12-lap old medium tires get another 15 laps of use out of his mediums and take them to the end of the race?
Well, that's the question mark. Obviously, the people that are out in front will be, in a sense, the benchmark for Sir Sharks. It'll be very, very interesting to see if he can do that. It'll be quite a drive from him if he can do that. But at the moment, he's stuck in the dirty air of his teammate. At the moment, his HK is just to let you know, has just gone into the back of Sir Sharks. Don't think he's got any damage. No, he has not, just to let you guys know. I'm just keeping using formed of the battle there as usual, watching the battle at the front.
I have enlisted the services of Ryan, who unfortunately retired from this race, to run some live numbers for us. And as things stand, the way he's ran it, Racing Point have the constructors lead by that half a point, with HK in 7th. He's telling me right now HK needs to get in between the Racing Points in order for Red Bull to have any more shot at the constructors. As far as the fastest lap goes, Ryan, it's actually the Toro Rosso of Liverpool has that right now. So no factor is the fastest lap. You can see Ferramoto is, well, I'm beginning to think it's just a fantastic defensive drive from the Williams, who could potentially be on course for another podium, 3 podiums in a row for Williams as they head through the tunnel. DJ Danny is again too far back to have a look at a move, but you know for a fact that inside that helmet, the Renault driver is getting very, very antsy to get past Ferramoto.
Exactly that. I've been very surprised with Ferramoto, to be honest. He has had quite a stellar drive, to be honest. Being able to hold off the caliber of DJ Danny and Scartrix behind him. How
much can he hold on to that? DJ Danny gets a little tap in the rear, but away goes DJ Danny up into second place. What was the advantage is not the advantage anymore, and Scartrix is going to have a little look to the outside of Beau Rivage as well as they head into Casino. Almost a move done in a very, very unlikely place for the Haas.
Yeah, and I do believe Moto picked up some damage when he clipped into the wall, so it's going to be hurting Scartrix. And at this point, will it bring James F1, Sir Sharks and HK into that front battle as well, and allow DJ Danny to pull away, because he's pulled over a second on Moto within a couple of corners, and that's crucial in his quest to try and keep ahead of HK in this battle for the drivers.
Miles has what was a 16-second is now closing quite quickly. Gap to DJ Danny behind him. Hopefully Ewan past the Ferrari into 11th for him. He currently holds the fastest lap of this race. And now Ferramoto and Scartrix going to go wheel to wheel into Sandoval. Not quite working out for Scartrix on that occasion as they head down into a section of the track which you can get a move done into Mirabeau, but you don't see it happen very often, do you? We didn't see it happen there, but now the battle for 6th place. HK, he's gonna have a little bit of work to do, Kendo, and he has James F1 has a bit of a queue forming up behind him as well, because not only is his teammate and the Red Bull behind him, but HRC and Matt Williams are starting to close in on this pack as well. DJ Danny, all the way up in second, is going to be, if he's watching the stream, if he's has it on another screen, to just get an idea of where HK is at, Danny, it'll be good to know that HK has been stuck behind Sir Sharks for about 10 to 12 laps now, and it doesn't look like that's changing anytime soon. Let's see here, just the absolute queue forming up, and now it does look like Scartrix has the move done onto Ferramoto as they head up into Beau Rivage and through Casino Square. They have plenty of ground to make up if he even wants to come close to the lead of this race, as done the man in front of him, DJ Danny. But Ferramoto could potentially now pit Ferramoto. I think he comes out around 9th place because he has that whole train of James F1, Sir Sharks, HK, HRC, and the Mercedes of Max Wenis all behind him. If you want to make up 18 seconds, that would probably put him between 9th and 11th, somewhere in there. With a bunch of cars on mixed strategies and mixed tire ages as well. But as things stand, but we thought DJ Danny, as you can see there, Ferramoto into the pit lane. Sir Sharks is, I think he was in black and yellow colors because he's really helping DJ Danny in his hunt for the Drivers' Championship. But it's going to be a project to get those now 28-lap medium tires to the end of this race. They had to do 38 laps. We could potentially see potentially get into wobbly boy territory where the tire just begins to fall away and punctures could then become somewhat of a risk. I don't think DJ Danny's going to want to risk that at all. You can see him losing time to Miles actually out front, and that will be actually a fantastic time for Miles to pit. Yellow flag in Sector 3. That looks like it's for a McLaren who has come into the pit lane. Let's see what he does. So Sharks still behind his teammate, still in front of HK, and still in the lead of the Constructors' Championship. It's not going Red Bull's way today at all, is it?
No, it isn't indeed. And as you were mentioning about pit stops, Miles, Danny, and Scartrix have yet to pit, so them three still need to pit. And I'll have a very quick look to see how the drivers are in terms of penalties, just to keep everyone informed that currently DJ Danny does not have any time penalties. Scartrix has a penalty and 2 warnings, and at the moment HK only has a warning. But just to update you guys on what the places will change through the race with them penalties.
Well, hold that thought. We have a yellow flag in Sector 2. It looks like it's for a beached Ferrari. Not that Ferrari. Potentially the other one. It seems to just be a Ferrari. I don't know if that's a graphical glitch. It appears that way, but it did look like for a second, if you saw on the mini-map, that there was a Ferrari just stranded through to back. It doesn't look like that to be the case. Miles and Danny and Scartrix leading the way here. And if they do 38 laps on the mediums, Kendo, I mean, it would be a race win fully deserved for Miles, because he does have that gap to make a pit stop, does the Alfa Romeo, and now James F1 and Sir Sharks are going to pull the switch, and in front goes now the lead racing point of Sir Sharks to potentially release him and try to get him within range of the top 3 to get a racing point onto the podium. Could we potentially see James F1 try and keep HK at bay? You can see that battle through here as they head into the tunnel. HK is all over the back of the racing point, as is Liverpool Ewan all over the back of the McLaren as well. You can see HK just pushing that Pink Panther through the Nouvelle chicane. You wonder now, Kendo, at what point... Scartrix into the pit lane. So this could be an interesting decision for him. You see the McLaren there just go straight on into... I think we have Toro Rosso in the background that was getting uplifted ever so slightly. But now the racing points, 3rd and 4th for them. Be a better day for them because they have returned to their starting positions of 3rd and 4th. So their strategy as of now has worked. And James F1, who's carrying that wing damage, if you remember, Kendo, has been able to keep HK behind for another lap. We have 7 laps to go, and you wonder, Kendo, at what point does HK just start, I don't want to say being reckless, but getting really desperate in this race to get past and to get as many positions back as possible.
Certainly is, and just on that note, Sir Sharks does have 2 penalties as it currently stands, and a fair few ones, and James F1 also has a penalty with 2 warnings. Scartrix is out.
Scartrix has lost it in the Nouvelle chicane. You can see there, he looks like he's clipped the barrier, and that could potentially signal DJ Danny into the pit lane. Soft tires on for him. Now this will be interesting to see where he comes out. Will HK get past him? Yes, he will. DJ Danny has been overtaken in the pit lane, and HK now, as things stand, would have the Drivers' Championship. I'm sure of it, because DJ Danny going all the way down to 7th place to make up 2 positions, potentially 3, if he wants to take home the Drivers' Championship for himself and for Renault. Could that pit stop be his undoing, as we are still racing here at Monaco with 6 laps to go? Could HK and the sweep of 18 seconds and the time of a pit stop been gifted the Drivers' Championship here? Miles into the pit lane as well. That will promote, potentially, there's a 30-second gap. Miles into the pit lane, out he comes. The rest of the pack hasn't even gone through the swimming pool section yet, so he's going to come out well ahead of the rest of the field. The gap will update here in a second, still 31.7 seconds, and I'm sure that will update to be a little bit closer, as you can see Sir Sharks peeling onto the pit straight. Now the gap 15.5, 13.5. I'm sure that will update even more. The yellow flag in Sector 3 looks like for a Williams. That is Ferramoto, who looks to have just clipped the barrier and is trying to keep that car on the track. But now HK is going to have to defend from HRC. 28 laps on the mediums to 27 laps on the hards. As Toro Rosso looks to go down the inside, and he's going to lose out potentially to DJ Denny, who peels back in. DJ Denny is really going to have to push those soft tires to make them work. He retired some time ago. Now, this is where it gets very, very interesting. The racing points, as things stand, unless barring anything spectacular happening, is just Toro Rosso getting into the back of HRC. It might have been just ever so slightly, but DJ Danny is very, very close to the back of the Toro Rosso of Ewan as well.
The most interesting point of this, as it currently stands, bear in mind the 2 racing points do have penalties. If my math is correct, HK will allow themselves to take the constructors by half point as it currently stands, if I am correct with the maths there. So very interesting in the constructors and the drivers, as you can see. Danny in P7 and HK in...
Danny's trying to go around the outside of Liverpool. Ewan, he has the move done. DJ Danny up into 6th place. Has one move done. He needs to get another move done to have any shot at the Drivers' Championship. You see him there trying to dive down the inside of HRC, who's done 28 laps on the hards. Will he potentially have a look at HRC? He's far too much of a ways back in order to get that move done, but he has his title rival right in front of him. After that, HRC defending the inside through to back, and it's really going to hold up DJ Danny. Now you can see we're riding on board with the run-up. You can see how much he's been held up by the McLaren as they head down into Rascasse, and he's swinging out wide to try to get the run onto the main straight, and this could be very, very tight now. Well, it's going to be a very, very bumper last 3 laps that we have around here. HRC is, you wonder if he's going to be offered a Red Bull contract. DJ Danny looks to go down the inside of HRC, and could he potentially have a look through the hairpin? Not that time around. He's going to try to go around the outside and not get that move done. I wonder if HK might be sending some love to McLaren's way should things stay as they are. But now DJ Danny could potentially have the run through the tunnel. Could he have a look into the chicane? This time around, he was ever so slightly wide into that corner. But now this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th is really, really heating up. You can see HRC is just holding up that Renault. Will he defend surely down the inside again as he does just that? And now does DJ Danny potentially have the drive? No, he doesn't. Having to tuck back inside. Will DRS potentially help the Renault? Probably not, because it doesn't do much around here, nor does the slipstream. HRC is really being a thorn in the side for DJ Danny as he gets past through the first turn, and now DJ Danny could line himself up to get past HK with 2 laps to go. This is for the Drivers' Championship. This is what it's going to... Oh, a bit of wing damage there for the Renault, and that is not going to help his challenge at all as he's pushing him through is DJ Danny. The Renault not liking that at all, and down into Fortier they go, and HK holding on to that 4th position. I don't know how he managed to do that. There is no way. I just can't believe that HK has held on to that, and Danny, 3-second time penalty for him. You can see the Red Bull missing a little bit of wing as well. And DJ Danny is starting to fall back so further due to that wing damage because he has Liverpool Ewan now climbing all over the top of him. as well. And you wonder now, Kendo, with 2 laps to go, we saw DJ Danny pick up a 3-second time penalty. I wonder if HK has any time penalties as well.
I don't believe he does. He only picks up 1 warning. He's actually got 2 warnings, so if he picks up another warning, that will include a penalty. But bear in mind, DJ Danny, as we've seen, has a penalty. James F1 in front of HK does have a penalty as well. So
they go wheel to wheel, heading into Mirabeau, and it doesn't quite work out there. This is painful to watch for DJ Danny. If you're Renault, it is painful to watch as well, because they got held up behind Ferramoto for almost 20 laps. They got held up behind HRC, who's now retired, and Liverpool Ewan for about 12 laps, as well as DJ Danny. Can he go down the inside of HK? HK locks up, heading into chicane. They bang wheels, and they're still going to go side by side. DJ Danny is up into 4th place, but with that 3-second time penalty, still sees him down into 5th place. Could HK stay within that 3 seconds here on the final lap, or will Liverpool Ewan potentially rain on his parade as well, because he's all over the Red Bull as well. He's going to have to cover off Ewan, who's going to look to absolutely ruin HK's afternoon. They're going wheel to wheel heading into Saint-Avant. It doesn't quite work out for Liverpool Ewan. HK falling a second behind DJ Danny. Still needs 2 seconds, does the Renault, to pull out in order to get the championship done here on the final lap of the race here at Monaco. We only have 11 drivers left in the race, but it's about 5 that are making things fantastic to see. I'm trying to figure it out. So, Racing Point, as things stand, more or less have the constructors wrapped up. Should they finish second and third, Miles crosses the line to win the Monaco Grand Prix. We're going to keep our eyes peeled on this battle now for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, as DJ Danny could potentially find himself in 3rd place because of James F1's penalty. Now you see here, heading into the swimming pool, James F1 just keeping DJ Danny at bay. There's no real threat from the Renault, but there is a threat from Liverpool Ewan behind, who spins Red Bull ever so slightly, manages to keep it on the track. You see here, James F1 crosses the line. DJ Danny holds 4th place. HK up into 3rd place. HK's won the Drivers' Championship. HK has won the Drivers' Championship on the final lap of the race. What a race, what a championship. HK, champion of the world, and what a way to do it.
Wow. And just what I was talking to you about, the penalties came into it, and that has put the Red Bull of HK in that racing point sandwich, as you were talking about, and that could have just wrapped up the constructors as well.
I believe, if I have my math correct, Racing Point, as Ryan has confirmed, 1.5 points.
Oh.
Racing Point win the Constructors' Championship. DXT HK finishing in 3rd position here at Monaco. It doesn't matter to him. He's finished in 1st of the inaugural season of the Invictus Racing League. And what a way to do it. What a race it was. We thought for sure that DJ Danny had it all wrapped up at one point in the race, but he decided to make the pit stop, and that became his undoing.
Certainly is, and I'll start getting the drivers in for this final Monaco Grand Prix interviews. For sure, it's going to be quite an interesting one, indeed. So as you can see,
certainly.
I'll let you take the podium away.
Well, if we have anyone in here, I don't believe we have yet. There are plenty of penalties dished out. There could potentially be, Kendo, penalties removed, penalties because penalties enforced, because it was the closest things ended. Anything could happen. Well, we are being spammed by James in the chat to hold on any confirmations as of yet, because I'm sure penalties are being reviewed
Straight away.
well, yeah, That's fine. We have, well, for those of you who actually can't hear him, Sharks is in the party. He said he's going to hold his thoughts until we know for sure who has won everything. This can't get any closer, can it? Because number one, Miles, if you could mute your mic. Because you do have plenty of my beautiful voice coming through your headset. Thank you very much. We're still waiting on confirmation. As it stands, before any penalties are taken away or enforced, HK wins the Drivers' Championship. Racing Point win the Constructors' Championship by 1.5 points. I don't know, Kendo. It's going to be very, very close here at the end to just see who takes what. I mean, we could see Williams take the Constructors' Championship at this rate. Who knows what's going to happen here just with how close things were.
It certainly isn't. At the moment, the admins and the stewards will be working overtime to try and get this result out to us right now, just to confirm. We're still waiting on the stewards' decisions. However, what a final laps or so. Some desperate moves that need to be made. The pressure, you could tell, was building and building all the way to the finish line there. So, what a finish. What a finish.
More or less trying to pry answers out of the stewards and pry answers out of James to get us an answer as to what exactly the finishing results are. I'm sure the number crunching is at an all-time high, I think some might say. But as things stand, we'll get underway with our podium here. Miles, you from really probably I'd say for the back 2/3 of the race, pulled away from the rest of the pack. Never in doubt, was it?
Nah, just kept it calm. I didn't want to risk anything. Because I knew Daniel was getting held up by a moto, so I thought if I could pull a big enough gap, then I could come out ahead of everyone and wait for the people behind me to pit, and I'd come out back in first. So it was a calm, collected race. Overall, happy with that.
Well, you ended up winning the race by 35.5 seconds while we were on board with the battle going through the tunnel. You had just crossed the finish line. I personally had no idea you were even that far ahead. I mean, in a place like Monaco, where if you take your eyes off the wheel for just half a second, you can end up in the wall. 39 laps around here, and to command it in the way that you did, I mean, how much does that just show that your performances, while it may not have been the greatest over the course of the season, much like it's Spa, you can really take it to the rest of the field?
Yeah, there's unfortunate weekends where I retire, but when I really want to turn it on, I'll turn it on and put in a good fight with the rest and compete for race wins. So I'm happy with that. Just hopefully next season I can be further up the table and compete with everyone else.
Well, Sharks, it's unconfirmed, but Racing Point, as things stand, to take home the Constructors' Championship, it's definitely been a very up and down back half of the season for Racing Point, but it's been a pretty good one for yourself, and to top it off with a little bit of silverware for yourself as well, with a second place finish at Monaco. That must feel pretty good.
Yeah, it's nice to get on the podium each time I haven't had an incident. So yeah, it feels good. It was had to weigh up the options in the race because obviously stuck behind my teammate, didn't want to jeopardise us losing the constructors, so just had to be really patient and go when the time was right, and then just pull that gap with the penalties I had.
Well, and were you keeping an eye on the Red Bulls to really keep them at bay, to give your team a shot at the Constructors' Championship? And it worked. Was that something you were actively thinking about, or was it more just keep the car on the track?
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely thinking about it, but I know HK was. I mean, he definitely had quicker pace than myself, so he was. I think he was just playing it a bit safe as well. So I didn't have to fight hard, and obviously losing his teammate earlier on in the race kind of sealed it for us. We just had to finish and keep it clean.
Well, do we have HK?
Yes, we
does
do.
he speak now, or is he just here?
Hello.
Oh, Harry, nice to hear from you. You've been on the podium a few times. Haven't had a podium interview. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm sure there were plenty of frustrations during the race, not only with your teammate crashing out and Red Bull unfortunately surrendering the Constructors' Championship as things stand to Racing Point. But obviously, as it stands, a Drivers' Championship for yourself, especially with the way the season started, how might that one feel?
I mean, it's not done yet. Danny's trying to get a penalty removed, so it's really annoying because when he went to overtake me, I knew he had a penalty, so I was like, I won't fight him because I'll stay with him. I knew he wasn't going to get past James, but I knew like that 3-second gap would stay, so I didn't fight him. But then now he's coming in saying it's got to be removed, so I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know if I'll end up with it or not, but the Constructors was disappointing, obviously, but that wasn't my focus going into this race. Like, I wasn't overly fast if we won it. It was just a bonus, to be honest. But so frustrating if James didn't, because James had damage. He was going so slow. If I could just got past him earlier on, like that, Danny would have never been anywhere near me come the end of the race anyway. But it is what it is.
And when he was in that second position behind Miles at one point, and you were down, I think, in 8th place, did it look almost hopeless at that point? Or did you know he was going to pit? Because we all thought in here the leaders might not pit. It looked like they were almost ready to do 38 laps on those medium tires, which we thought was going to be definitely a stretch.
Well, obviously, I knew he had to pit because you obviously have to make a stop, but I was just lucky he was stuck behind Moto for so long, because if he'd cleared him early, I mean, he would have won it by a mile, because I was just stuck behind James and Sharks. But yeah, I mean, I was constantly, because I was speaking to one of my friends who was watching the stream, so I was constantly asking what the gap was to Danny, and he was saying about 12 seconds, so I knew it was alright, but again, it might all be for nothing anyway.
Well, we're doing everything we can to pry answers out of anyone here. That's Rymac is typing in the chat. Let's see what it's going to be.
So is James.
Oh boy.
You guys are free to go if you would like. But we're gonna stick around here to officially announce everything, because there's no way to see how this ends. Ryan, you can't do that. That's not allowed. He's told me to wrap up the stream
I've just seen
on
that.
a cliffhanger. I feel like that is all right. Well, in that case, keep your eyes peeled onto the Invictus Racing League Twitter, because I'm sure it will be announced on there as soon as we find out. But in terms for us, it's been a great season, Kendo. It's been very good, and I'm sure it can only get better from here. But Miles wins at Monaco by a country mile. And for myself, for Kendo, thank you very much. Keep your eyes peeled on the final results to the Twitter Invictus Racing Leagues. And until next season, we will see you then.